So let's take a look at the at Rodin's gun for an example for a moment, if I may. And Linda, then you can come in after me. I just want to jump on this because this is an iconic prop. Um, Robbins has designed the look of it. I have his illustrations of that. Did he hand that over and say go to town, or were you in the process working with him to make that to turn that out
I,
into that, and then you went and made it? Where's the line drawn there?
well, it's a pretty. I went to James with my idea after going to Martin, whoever was directing that episode. Talked about what it could be, pulled out some images of six shooters, and kind of came up with the idea. And then James, I didn't go and say it needs to look it, but James drew it. I gave him an idea of cowboy gun, sort of put the wrap on the grip and all that stuff. But James expanded, as James always did. James would take the most rudimentary drawing because, trust me, I'm in my wife's art gallery. I can't draw a thing. So I would, whether it was a bad pencil sketch or a picture off the internet or something, I would say, make this look like something. And he would then take it into James' world. I called him Jimmy the Pen. It was like, okay, I got to go see Jimmy the Pen. And because his ability to draw and create was at that point in time, I was blown away by it because I hadn't been around that world. You have to remember, I came from World War One or samurai films or cowboy movies and the odd, really bad sci-fi show where I did meet Ray Bradbury and Kurt Vonnegut. And the only prop guy who's probably sat and had a conversation with both of those men, which would probably make your fan base go crazy. But yeah, James was just brilliant.
Wow,
He is brilliant.
Linda.
Um, so you went on to work with Jason a bit more, didn't you? You worked on C for a while.
Yes,
Is that, can you share any stories from that experience?
absolutely. First of all, the smartest thing I did on C was Gord Bellamy was kind of semi-retired after shutting down his portion of the Stargate shop. And I convinced him after about 5 years to bring his shipping containers full of all his machinery into the sea world. And so suddenly I had that real shorthand of working with Gord like we did all those years on Stargate to then set up C. And I had no idea how I would, whether Jason would remember me from Stargate because I was never on set. I was always the guy who goes, here, do you like this? Do you like this? Do you like this? And then Pat would take over and run it on set. So I didn't know how much Jason would remember me, but I remember Francis Lawrence, who's directed The Hunger Games and many
Yes.
feature films along those lines. Well, Francis Lawrence was directing the first three episodes of C. And every time an actor came to the office, which also had the build shop and everything, he would bring them through the concept room and into the set decoration warehouse and then into props. And I was coming around a corner and I could see Jason was walking towards the prop shop with Francis. And all of a sudden he saw me and he came running, like he sprinted towards me and picked me up and gave me this huge bear hug, which I think realigned my spine. And so I guess he did remember me. And what happened was because C is it's a show where everybody's blind and you're building all these tactile props and everything, but it's all found objects from a dystopian future. We'd built a lot of props and we had some ideas for Jason. So we had a private show and tell with Jason and where we showed him all the cool stuff we built for him. But he decided he wanted everybody's props. So Jason came to us, I want this for a future episode. I want this for a future episode. It's probably the best show and tell I've ever had, except he took 3/4 of the props that we had for everybody else. So we had to put all that stuff away for future episodes and rebuild more stuff for everybody else. So, but yeah, no, Jason is a big-hearted, kind human on set, really good to the crew, really fun to work with. And yeah, but it was really nice to see him from Stargate. And we talked about Stargate a little bit. He told me he struggled a bit after Stargate getting work and how getting onto Game of Thrones kind of was a turning point for him. And I'm so happy for his success now. Any of the Stargate people, when I come across, whether Kenny and all these people that are doing really well in their careers since Stargate, I'm always happy for them, because that was really an exceptional group.
That's exactly right. They're just exceptional people. Can you tell me about the security aspect of the props? You're dealing with pieces that are several $1,000s in R&D. The tricorders from Star Trek. There were regular stories about how the tricorders would just walk. They would just disappear. Was there what kind of procedures were there in place to prevent, certain guest stars and people are like, this belonged to my character. I want this to go with me. It's like, no, we may need this for a future episode. What's the process like? Did you ever have any issues on Stargate or elsewhere regarding that? Tell me about the process of keeping this property secure.
Yeah. I've not had issues with anybody. I think that they respected the process on Stargate, Atlantis and SG-1. I think they respected where we came from, and the fact that everything was very expensive in R&D, even like, the staff weapons, for instance, just anything like that. Even though we may have had 30 or 40 of them for an episode, especially the short ones that we made, we kept everything. We just made sure, yes, absolutely. And Kenny and Pat, who were running the sets for me, really were on top of that. I mean, we had vaults in the truck. Stuff, if it didn't need to be on the truck, would come back to the warehouse, and the warehouse was very secure. And we're very good at what goes out comes back in, and if something is missing, we do the big hunt for where it went. But yeah, no, security on every movie is very high, because the memorabilia market has really gone crazy for all of this stuff. And so we have to, I get calls all the time going, what props do you have? I go, I don't have any. I didn't own them. So they all went to the show. They're all in the warehouse. I rarely keep anything. And if I keep anything, I bought it from the show because I wanted it. But other than that, no, that belongs to the show. And if John Smith or Brad or Coop decided they wanted to give something to somebody at the end of an episode, then that was their choice. They always got to make that choice. Rarely did we do it because the shows needed the material. We when you're in a 7-day turnaround on an episode, if you have the ability to go to the warehouse and pull something out and maybe adapt it, as opposed to building it from scratch because you only had 7 days, it was just really important to hang on to everything on that show.
Thanks for watching this clip from Dial the Gate. You can find the full live stream shows on our YouTube channel or visit dialthegate.com for the complete schedule. See you on the other side.